Welcome to the Tuesday Review. I'm Nathan.
I'm James.
And I'm Alan.
Yeah, and we're joined on via Skylink with Alan.
How you going, Alan?
Pretty good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Anytime. Tonight we are talking about Ad Astra, but first, James has a very special live reveal.
Oh yeah, live surprise reveal. So last episode or whatever, when we were talking about Dark Crystal, talking about merchandising, and I was like, I want to collect all the toys.
Did you get a Dark Crystal toy?
I ordered my Hup action figure like I said I would. I'm going to open it on the show. This is great podcast listening.
Wait, don't open it. It loses all value if you open it.
No, I want to play with it. All right, so I got my Hup.
Give us a look before you open it.
Okay, give you this little
He's passing me the toy.
He's got a little Hup.
He's got two spoons.
He's got 2 spoons. He's got his big spoon and his little spoon from the show.
That's sick.
Yeah, it's got a little, like a purple card background.
He kind of looks like a burn victim, but I like it.
Well, I mean, he is a little podling man, so he's got a little bit of wrinkles. And he's like a little plastic lump.
That's sick.
How good is it?
That's
and there's
really
like the
cool.
whole series on the back.
Yeah, this is what Netflix needs to be doing.
Yeah, no, we need more of these. All right, I'm going to open it on the show. I got my Stanley knife. I even brought my own Stanley knife.
We should be recording video of this for the Facebook page.
Oh, wait, should we get...
This can be the ASMR.
Oh, yeah, ASMR. Wait, can we do Instagram Live, whatever it's called?
Yeah, let me take some photos of you opening it, or video footage.
We'll put that on the Facebook.
We need to record this for posterity on video footage.
We'll do a video and then I'll upload it later.
Yeah.
Because I don't know where the fucking Instagram Live button is.
Do Facebook... Can we re-upload Facebook Live footage if we go live on the Facebook?
No, I'll just do it normally on the phone.
All right.
Got my Stanley knife.
All right, we're going live.
Ready?
Recording.
Ready? I got my... Show them the Hup. All right. I got my Stanley knife. Show the people the figure. Can you see him?
Yep, he looks beautiful.
Yeah. All right, got my Hup. All right, I'm going to open him.
Don't cut your fingers. Video's still getting uploaded if you cut your fingers.
This Stanley knife is really blunt. We've had it in my house for, I don't know, 20 years. Ugh. I don't want to rip the cardboard. I want to keep the cardboard. Ugh. Ah, there we go. All right, I'm going to take him out. Oh, yeah.
There we go. Hup.
There he is. Hup. I'm going to take him out. Hang on. Should I give him his big spoon or his little spoon?
Start with the little spoon.
Okay, yeah. Start in the order of the show.
That's it.
All right, I'll give him his
Later on in the
spoon.
year, we can give him the big spoon.
Yeah, he can upgrade when he becomes a paladin. All right. There he is. Hup.
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 Hup. So good.
He's fucking fully posable. He's got little joints.
He's got little joints. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you're going to give him some dirt and he'll be happy.
Yeah. Put him in a little... put him in a little flower pot, make him a little statue.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
A little gnome. That's amazing.
There he is. Hup action figure.
Live on the Tuesday Review.
Live on the Tuesday Review. Not that anyone listening can see. But go to Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and I'll upload the video there.
Amazing.
Hup.
Hup.
Okay.
All right, that's it.
Okay, bye. All right.
Something new for the show?
Yeah, there we go. Got my little Hup.
Let's have a look see in person.
There you go. Play with him a little bit.
I'll play with Hup on his spoon while we're talking about our future review, Ad Astra, the new science fiction film starring Brad Pitt and Tommy Lee Jones.
I don't think we can top that great introduction, but but I guess we should review Ad Astra.
Oh, that's disappointing.
What's wrong? What's wrong with Hup?
He can't stand.
Don't break my Hup.
I'm not breaking Hup.
Move his little feet. His feet are
his feet are movable. Never mind. He probably can stand.
Yeah.
There we go.
There you go.
He's good.
You don't know.
Don't want to lose his little spoon.
Don't know anything about posable action figures.
Anyway.
Don't lose his spoon. I got a little...
There we go.
There we go. Hup.
He's our mascot. Anyway.
Maybe I should bring him to the studio every week. Oh no, I almost lost his spoon.
Like he wasn't me.
Yeah.
Anyway, our future review this week is Ad Astra, the new science fiction drama, basically, starring Brad Pitt and Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah. Full spoilers?
Full spoilers, straight into it.
Let's not screw around.
We've already used some time.
Yeah. We got heaps of time. Don't worry. Yeah, full spoiler alert for Ad Astra if you haven't seen it. Yeah, I mean, I liked it. I didn't love it. I have problems with it. I think the best part of it looks really, really nice.
Is that Mars?
Well, yeah, Mars, but I mean generally.
Yeah.
The look of the movie.
Generally the look, yeah.
Like the design
the
and
cinematography
is
the colours are nice.
Yeah.
I did like it. I have a couple of issues with it, of course.
Yeah.
But I liked it overall. Did you like it overall, Alan?
Yeah, I think that's one of the great ways to describe my experience with the film as well. I did enjoy it. I did like it, but there were problems.
Yeah, it's kind of a good, not great kind of thing, because there are a lot of people online saying it's as good or better than 2001. It's as good or better as Interstellar.
It's definitely not.
It's definitely not.
It's nowhere close to either.
Close to either. Yeah. So, I mean, the trailer. I bumped up. The trailers make it out to be like a kind of action adventure, which that's understandable because it's a movie marketing. That's how they market all movies. But from the director, James Gray, from his previous films, I knew that that's not what the movie was going to be. And even James Gray came out and said, no, the movie's actually like a slower, more psychological, intellectual film, which is actually what I wanted from it. Because I was like, action movies, I mean, I love action movies. I would have loved for this movie to be an action movie. But I was kind of watching the trailer.
Something a bit different.
Yeah, and I was kind of watching the trailer and I'm like, I don't know if I want this to be an action movie. I want that slow drama, which is what it was intended it to be.
I digged a lot of the slow introspection.
Yeah, but this is my probably biggest problem with the movie is that, yes, it is actually a slow character drama, basically, focused solely on Brad Pitt's character and his
struggles.
Yeah, his like internal struggles. But I feel like it wasn't explored enough.
I agree.
I feel like because one of the major problems I have with the movie is the narration, the voiceover. There's a lot of telling and not showing. There's a lot of Brad Pitt being like, I don't know if I can go on anymore. I don't know if I'm a man anymore. I don't know this.
I don't know how I feel about my dad.
Yeah, it's like my dad, and it's like, but I have to go on.
My
and
dad left me. But I'm still really close to my dad.
Did Spielberg direct this movie? There's a lot of daddy issues. But, I felt like they should have cut all the narration out and just done it all visually.
Yeah.
Or done it with dialogue with the other characters, which is another problem I have with the movie is there are no other characters. There's Brad Pitt, and then there's a couple other people who show up along the way. There's no actual other fleshed out characters.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
There's no one that sticks around long enough to kind of make an impact.
Yeah.
You hear about the dad for a lot of it, but you only get to see him,
at the very end.
In full spoilers, right? At the very end.
Full spoilers, yeah.
So,
and then he's not in it for that long and he dies.
Yeah, I was just going to say, no one's there long enough to have an impact, except for Brad Pitt, which, he has a pretty good impact. He does it, but you need more.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, you can't also make the excuse that the characters that are there are, archetypes or are, deliberately vague, to prove a point or to aid in the exploration of Brad Pitt's character. I think instead they're just there. Because at the end of the movie, I was like, you can cut all those characters out and Brad Pitt still comes to the realization that he comes to. Do you know what I mean?
I feel like, I'm not excusing this issue, but I feel like half of this is probably Brad Pitt's character in the movie is supposed to be on the spectrum somewhere. He's very... I think it's stated...
so?
It was stated... I haven't got my phone on me because I'm calling Alan.
Yeah.
But in the lead up to this movie, it was pretty much stated that the character's on the spectrum and he finds it hard to identify and talk to others in social settings. And that I feel that does come across in the film, and it's so introspective on his character, and he doesn't really care about anyone else.
Yeah.
So why... The movie's so focused on Brad Pitt and Brad Pitt's sort of character's mentality that we never get a chance to really explore any other characters.
So, and that's another problem with the movie is Brad Pitt's character is so withdrawn and so cold that it's kind of hard for the audience to care if he doesn't care.
I'm pretty sure it was stated that he's on this. It was intentional that the character is on the spectrum in the movie.
Compare this movie to, I guess you could say, a similar movie, First Man, where Ryan Gosling's portrayal of Neil Armstrong was, I guess, similar in a way because of his withdrawn nature. But the movie did a better job of exploring why he was like that, how he interacted with other people, you know, and how he overcame that at the end. Whereas in Ad Astra, it's just him being really cold the whole movie. There's a flat kind of narration of him going like, I don't know why I'm like this. I don't know why I'm, you know, I don't know why I'm like the way I am. And then at the end, he's like, but I'm going to be better. And then it ends. Yeah. And I was like, huh? And I was like, oh, like the 2 hours of movie leading up to this didn't need to happen because nothing really informed him. It's just kind of, it was just that last encounter that changed his mind kind of thing.
And I feel like all of that really, that struggle to find a connection with Brad Pitt's character, with any of the other characters in the movie, it's sort of like, I guess it was written that way on purpose. It just doesn't really work. Yeah,
it's like if you wanted to, they kind of illustrate that he's cold and withdrawn at the start of the movie. So him being cold and withdrawn to everyone he meets and them being kind of cold with him.
Yeah.
And then him, you know,
it just doesn't
finally
make it
meeting his dad. Yeah, and then him like realizing through narration that he's going to go back to Earth and meet his wife and be better. And I was just kind of like, well, that's it?
Yeah.
Like you could cut out like 90% of this movie and make a short film about a guy who goes on a long journey to find his dad and then becomes a better person. Like could be 10 minutes.
I understand that this character has like his issues with connection or whatever, but there must be better ways they could have written this movie to at least give some chemistry between characters.
Yes. I think it would be better if the other characters were actually fleshed out characters and then have him, you know, interact with them. Or alternatively, you can have him be a kind of quote-unquote normal person. I don't know how else to put it, like a more outgoing person, but still have problems, like still have internal issues. Yeah. But you show that through acting, through dialogue. Don't narrate, like, show, don't tell.
Yeah. Narration's always a struggle.
Yeah, a narration in a movie, unless you're Scorsese, cut out the narration, you know? Because, it just felt very cheap. And I think the movie, you know, even though it looks stunning and I like all the designs of things and the kind of costumes and all that and the production design, I think there are times where it's like really long, drawn out kind of shots. And I was like, this would be great this movie should have been one of two things. It should have been more weird and out there, kind of like maybe like 2001, or it should have been more
personal.
Yeah, more kind of... what's the word I'm looking for? More built up, everything more explored more. So you either explore nothing and make it really weird and stylized and slow and kind of arty-farty.
Space.
Yeah, exactly. You either do that or you go on the other side and you go make it, you know, beef up all the characters, beef up all the world building and make it more a traditional sci-fi action adventure kind of thing. What they're doing is kind of in the middle where they're kind of trying to do things like they go to the moon and there's like a Subway and an Applebee's, you know, and there's
I did have a giggle.
Yeah, and it's like this cool kind of sci-fi, and then they get on these moon buggies and they're going across the lunar surface and the pirates come and they start shooting with laser guns and they want to do that. But then also after that, there's these long, slow shots of Brad Pitt walking down halls and then he has these, you know, he has these breakdowns in his room where he's crying and there's like a narration of him being like, why am I like this? You know, and then there's just like, you know, shots of space with weird music. And then the monkey comes out and attacks them. And I was like, does this movie want to be an action, adventure, sci-fi kind of thriller? Or does it want to be a weird, introspective character, you know, arty-farty space movie? It's kind of in the middle.
It felt like quite a... I did like the monkey scene, but it was like a very jarring kind of change of tone. So, and it was just like it doesn't let the movie settle into what it wants to settle into because maybe the movie doesn't know.
Yeah.
But still, like it felt very jarring. It's like, that's not the movie I was expecting. Is it going to be that? No, it's not going to be that. That was just a little scene.
Exactly.
To experience.
I think that's a good way to put it. The movie doesn't know what it wants to be. And I think this is a movie where I was watching it, and the monkey scene especially, where I was like, this movie would be really good if it was made in the 90s with all practical effects. Because even like the monkey scene would have been incredible with like a real monkey or animatronic monkey. Like I would have been like, yeah, this is so awesome. But the way it is in the movie with the shitty CGI monkey, I was just like so bored and just I was checked out, you know. And then the scene is over and it really added nothing to the film.
Yeah.
Other than for Brad Pitt to say, you know, violence. I feel that violence in me. I feel that rage. And I was like, huh? Like, show, don't tell.
Yeah,
You needed the monkey scene?
They could have had him stabbing the monkey a few times. Like, show me your rage, Brad Pitt.
Yeah, actually, maybe have him, like one of the pirates on the moon tries to attack him and he, like, beats the crap out of the guy to the point where it's like, you didn't just kill the guy, you brutalized his body, and then have someone question him and being like, no, I'm fine for service, I'm fine, I can go on the mission.
Yeah, my heart rate didn't go over 50.
Exactly. And then that kind of, then that's a movie about a sociopath. But like
sending
that's a more interesting movie, I think.
Brad Pitt's a killer in Ad Astra.
It's American Psycho in space. That would be cool. That's a movie I want to see. See, everything in this movie, I was like, they could make that into its own movie.
Yeah.
Like when they get to Mars, and it's like this weird post-apocalyptic underground, vacant, kind of trashed, dirty, smoky, weird place. And I was like, why isn't the movie just about Mars?
Yeah.
Because I don't care about him going to save his dad, because he doesn't care about him going to save his dad.
Yeah, I know.
And I want to see them explore this weird version of Mars they've created. I love all the world building that's there, but I wanted them to go further with it. Or, like I said, strip it all away and make it really weird and, arty, and like don't explain any of it. But the way they are, they're kind of in the middle.
One thing I'd like to address is I've seen this quite a bit on Twitter, and it's not people calling it a plot hole, but it's not. People are like, why didn't he just go straight to? Is it Jupiter?
Neptune. Mars. Oh
Neptune.
No, Neptune is where the dad is. Yeah.
So why did they just go straight to Neptune from Earth? Or A, because it's a super secret mission, and they wanted B, they go to Mars to get the transmission out first.
Yeah.
The goal wasn't Neptune initially, everyone who apparently watched the movie on Twitter.
Yeah.
That's like, watch the movie and then have your complaints.
Yeah.
There are a lot of issues with this movie, but don't try to play with loopholes when there are none.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of problems with this movie, but the general overall story premise isn't one, I'd say.
Yeah.
Go on, Alan.
I was going to say, a genuine plot hole to complain about is the fact that he expects to go back home to Earth and not be, reprimanded immediately.
Yeah. Oh, all the guys he's killed.
Yeah. That's probably the biggest plot hole. But also, like, one thing maybe they addressed this in the movie, but he goes to the surge happens.
Mm-hmm.
So again,
which probably would have, if this really happened, it would just kill everyone.
Yeah. So the surge one is
antimatter explosion.
Yeah, but it's like the way it is in the movie, like it's almost like a nothing plot device. Like it's just literally there so that he has a reason to go out to find his dad. It's never explored again what it is, why it does, anyway. So there's that. Then they say something like the only active communications array is on Mars, in an underground base or something, right?
I think
that's why you had to go to Mars?
I think they go to Mars because that's the only one that could get a reliable signal to Neptune from, like, the distance.
Yeah, just because I think they said something about the surge wiped everything out. Mars is the only one that still works.
And the issue is, it's not made very clear. Like, you see the news reports or anything, but you're unclear of the level of damage. It seems like, looking at some exterior sources, apart from the film, it seems a lot of people have died from the surge and, like,
there's like a death toll on the news.
Yeah.
It's not explored enough.
Yeah. It's made to be the big deal. Oh, no, the surge is going to kill everyone. Yeah. We better do it. But then for a lot of it, you just forget about the surge until some critical moments when something might go wrong.
Yeah. Exactly. It's kind of, it's never explored again. So then he goes to the moon to take the rocket to Mars. So I guess they couldn't launch from Earth.
I think the issue was they didn't want to cause... This, from what I got from the story, is they launched from Earth to the moon in, like, cattle class.
Yeah.
Because it's a top secret mission, and they don't want people speculating why are they taking a military...
That's another thing. I liked how they go on, like, a commercial vehicle, and, like, everything's really expensive, and it's like it's kind of like what space travel will kind of be like in the near future. But I feel like they need to either go all the way into that, or they need to rein it back and make it like a weird arty movie where they don't explore any of that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he goes to the moon, but then the moon is like disputed territory. It's like cut up into factions.
And they're like moon pirates.
Yeah, there are like warring factions, which again, I was like, this is the movie I want to see. just stay here. Stay on the moon, make a movie about the factions. I don't care about the dad mission. I've seen a million movies like that. I've seen Contact, you know. Then they have to go from the moon base across the lunar surface to the hidden launch pad, which is in
There'd
between
be military jets at the moon.
In between, there's
airport.
the disputed no man's land where the pirates roam.
Spaceport? Airport.
Spaceport, yeah. But so I was like, one, surely they have a short-range shuttle that they can just fly over from the moon base to the launch pad. 2, why wasn't the launch pad just in the moon base? 3, are you telling me the pirates just roam that no man's land area constantly? Like, if they have a base, surely it's easy to find because of technology. The technology we have now, I'm sure, could find, you know, most settlements if there was one on the moon. But anyway, like, that's not a big problem. Then they finally get to the launch pad. Then they get to Mars.
Can I just say one thing, James?
Yeah.
Prior to, obviously, when they take that quote-unquote treacherous mission from the commercial spaceport to the secret one, you don't get enough time to kind of, obviously, attach yourself at all to the characters that are taking them on. And then, you know, Brad Pitt looks at the photo of that military major that dies, and he's got a photo of his family in the little moon buggy that they're on. I'm like, you don't get to do that. Like, either you give us time to actually appreciate these characters, or you don't.
No one really was emotionally affected by those people's deaths. Like, there was no moment. Yes, there was no moment where you got to know them, but after they died, there was no moment where people mourned them. So they weren't real people.
Just part of Brad Pitt's body count, bruh.
Yeah. Maybe this is a movie about a sociopath who just goes on a rampage.
It's actually a supernatural movie about Brad Pitt and his bad luck. You get close to him, you end up dying or getting reprimanded.
His dad is his bad luck charm. He has to kill his dad to get his good luck back.
What got to me about Brad Pitt's violent tendencies in this movie was when he killed everyone aboard that last shuttle to...
I like how they try to make him the good guy, but he didn't directly murder anyone.
But he kind of did.
But he's responsible for all their deaths. And I was like, at the end of the movie when he confronts his dad, I was like, so he's gonna die with his dad, right? This is the moral of the story. He can't get away with what he did, even though he technically didn't straight up murder anyone. He's responsible for...
let's take the murder out of the equation. Yeah. All right? He still hijacked a military...
Yeah. He's still a weird, cold,
criminal at this point
who you don't care about.
He commits illegal activity regardless of the murder. He's in trouble when he gets back home. But no,
he just goes, has a coffee with his ex-wife or whatever. Which another thing is they do that tropey thing of like the...
No, she would have moved on, man.
Yeah, the kind of distant wife who left the character before the events of the movie, who's only seen in vague flashbacks where she doesn't say anything and just looks pretty. And then at the end is his trophy for, I guess, overcoming his autism or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like, she's not a character.
Yeah. Her only...
But see... but then...
Her only purpose in the movie is to be there when Brad Pitt gets back home.
When he's overcome his daddy issues. So then I was thinking, like, a much better movie, The Grey, with Liam Neeson, where they kind of do that thing where it's like flashbacks to his wife. And you think, she left him or whatever. But then what they do is they kind of do a little twist where you're like, oh, actually she died. And that's why Liam Neeson's depressed the whole movie.
That's cool.
But then the whole movie is basically a survival... I won't call it a horror movie, but, survival thriller. And so his motivation is almost is tied to his wife's death, and it's kind of like a driving force, and it's kind of like inbuilt into his character of like he's got nothing to lose, so he'll just fight the shit out of these wolves trying to kill him, and it's an awesome movie. Now, on top of that, you got the fact that Liam Neeson's real-life wife died at around the same time, so that adds another layer of stuff to the character. But then I'm like, in Ad Astra, none of that applies to his character.
No,
it's like really all she is for him to say, because at the end he says in the voiceover or whatever, he's like, now that everything's done, I'm gonna be a better person. And then you see him go back to his wife, and I was like, really, that's it?
The whole message of the movie basically revolves around there is no alien life. All we have is each other. Look at the life around you, and that sort of prompts him to be like, I need my wife.
Yeah, which is kind of like, but isn't Tommy Lee Jones's character the one who should have had that realization?
Exactly,
because Brad Pitt doesn't give a shit about alien life.
No. So the only thing Brad Pitt cares about really is his career, and that's the only thing because he's like he's good at it.
So this is my probably biggest problem with the movie: is the movie should have been about Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah, it should have been.
Because the what's it called? Interstellar is about Coop. It's not. Murph is an important character, but you follow Coop. Coop is the main character. So you can imagine Interstellar, where Murph is the main character and Coop is a secondary character, and it's a weird kind of movie, right? It's like a movie about a girl whose father was lost.
I think that hits the nail on the head. But this is an inverse Interstellar.
But you can say, well, Contact is kind of like that, where it's about the girl whose father died, and then, but then that's about the search for extraterrestrial life, and who gets to first contact. That's a drama about that, and her connection to her father drives her. Whereas Ad Astra is a movie about a cold, distant pilot or astronaut whose dad disappeared 30 years ago. He made no effort to find him, doesn't seem to really care that he's gone.
Exactly.
But now that the surge happened, the government or the army finally got their thumb out of their ass and decided to do something about it, and sent their son, I guess because they figured he could get through to the father.
In a nutshell, the movie is basically about Brad Pitt's arrogance at the quality of his own job, right? How good he is at his job. He's picked for the mission because of his connection to his father, and his father might respond, but his own, we'll say, conceit forces him, his own character flaw about him being the best man for any job he's given, forces him to basically take control of the mission. Because he doesn't think anyone can do it without him.
Maybe, but also I can't really see in the world of movies, in the universe of all movies that exist, I can't really see anyone else other than the main character being the best man for the job, unless you're deliberately trying to illustrate that he's not the best man for the job by making him incompetent, or making him make a mistake, or by making the movie an exploration of how, his sort of ego or pride.
Well, I think that's what it is, really. Yeah. It's more ego.
So, but the movie, for me, isn't an exploration of that. It doesn't do a good job of illustrating that Brad Pitt's character maybe isn't the best guy, Because really, it's just about a sad guy going to look for his dad, but he doesn't really care about his dad. And then the big character twist or whatever, the big development at the end is, maybe there's not life out there, but there's life home, and now I'm going to start living my life.
It's too late, man. You're an old man.
Yeah, it's too late for that. You killed a bunch of people, and again, shouldn't that be what Tommy Lee Jones's character realizes? Man who's left his family.
He gets to the ship. You killed how many people?
Yeah. So, this is the thing, is
oh, Dad, don't come on this ship. There's too many bodies.
There's all just bodies everywhere floating around. Well,
what the fuck?
Now, to be fair, his dad killed his whole crew.
That's also true. They're a family of stone cold killers.
Yeah, well, see, they're like father, like son. Maybe this is just a movie about genetic sociopathy. Yeah. That's what the movie should have been about. Tommy Lee Jones's character leaving his family, thinking he's the best man for the job, thinking he's the only one in the world who can reach extraterrestrial life, getting to the edge of the galaxy, realizing that maybe there's more to life than searching away from home, and then returning home. Now, that on one hand, that's a heartwarming message, but on the other hand, that's pretty fucked up. It's like, get to the edge of the galaxy, find nothing there, and then give up?
Yeah.
Now, this adds another question of maybe this movie shouldn't have been set in the near future. It should have been set thousands of years in the future. And humankind has colonized many worlds far out into the galaxy, far out into the universe, but we still haven't found alien life. Then you can explore the idea of maybe there's nothing out there. But to get to the edge of our galaxy and say there's nothing out there, that's dumb.
I understand they use antimatter technology in this world, but still,
it's dumb.
It's a big universe, man.
Yeah, there are people who are saying, well, actually, it's not about giving up on exploration because the whole point of Brad Pitt getting the data from the dad's ship is so he can go home and say, look, there are all these worlds out there. Maybe there is life. But I'm like, too little, too late.
Yeah.
This is like one plot point at the end of the movie.
I don't think that was the point. Yeah. I think he just took that information because it's a shame to waste the decades of data that they collected. Life or not, I'm sure there's really they have all this information about the worlds that they looked at in these telescopes.
Yeah.
And their composition. That's still valuable data regardless there's life or not. So no wonder he took it.
Yeah. Also, are we meant to believe that Tommy Lee Jones was so invested in finding alien life that he just sat on his ship for 30 years? Like, he didn't try to go further? He didn't try to,
I guess,
hijack another ship? What? I don't understand what the idea here is.
Well, one of the things that was kind of explained was due to the fact that there's interference from, the Earth and the Sun and everything
else. The heliosphere.
The heliosphere. Neptune was a point where they could actually start doing the actual search from.
Yeah.
So they were scanning other stars, and I guess maybe he didn't have fuel and whatnot to get any further, but that was kind of the point where he was going to do the search.
Yeah.
But I do like what you mentioned, the idea of it should have been more focused on Tommy Lee Jones' character.
Yeah.
And his kind of evolution into whatever he's become at this point, the fact that he decided to kill his own crew and fight and everything else, because that would have worked much better. And you can kind of say he went crazy through his ambition or whatever, and then the Sun's trying to maybe rescue him in a way, rather than what it was. What we saw.
That's another thing about this movie is if Brad Pitt's character actually loved his father and desperately was trying to search for his father for 30 years, and the search was the first time he had a location of his father and he got to go out and find his father, this movie would be automatically 100 times better, because it's about a man who's lost someone close to him, who loved his father, and who goes out to search and find him. Then when he finds him, there can be the reveal of, oh, he went crazy and he's actually, he's not the hero that everyone made him out to be, and Brad Pitt would have to face that. But the way the movie does it is Brad Pitt's just really cold and distant, and he never really loved his father. He just kind of does his job. Then he gets to his father and he's like, well, now I realize that I do love you, even though if you don't love me. And it's hard to care as an audience member.
If the main character doesn't care, why do we care?
Yeah, and if all the other characters just kind of float along with the rest of the space debris, you don't really care about what's going on. And so at the end, when he meets his father and they have a very brief, not a lot of time to develop character or anything, very brief moments, you're kind of yep, okay, that happened. And then Brad Pitt's like, yeah, well, that's done. I'm going to live my life now. I was like, but you were living your life up until that point. If they made the movie about his obsession with finding his dad and neglecting
that's a different
story. That's a better movie, But the way, he had 30 years, he didn't care about his dad until this moment at the end of the film.
And then realistically, once the mission was over and he sent the transmissions to his dad, he should be like, all right, on to the next mission.
Yeah.
Because he didn't care about his dad. That's the point.
Yeah. Also, when he gets to his dad and his dad's like, I have to stay here. My crew was, talking about going home, so I had to kill him. And he's like, I'm going to stay here and search for life and yada, yada, yada. I was like, okay, cool. This is the point in the science fiction movie where you have your warring ideologies and you have your monologues about, human existence and existentialism and search for extraterrestrial life and yada, yada, yada. But none of that happens. Everyone's just, the choir's like, hey, Dad. Oh, hey, son. Oh,
it's been a long 30 years.
Yep. It's like, yep.
Found some planets. Yeah. Haven't done much of my life.
Yeah. I never loved you, right? Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
I also haven't had a shower in 30 years. It's been a little rough.
Yeah. And then he's like, yeah, okay. And he's
in
like,
space, no one can smell your your BO.
He's like, but I'm going to take you home anyway. I was like, okay. And then he drifts off into space. He's like, just leave me. And I was like, okay. And then he goes home, and I was like, what? That should have been like
my legs wouldn't work on Earth anyway.
A much better. Yeah, that's what I was going to say as well. I was like, I hope there's a bit where Tommy Lee Jones can't walk because he's been in space for so long. This is going to be great, and then they never do that.
My muscles have atrophied.
I do like the bit where Brad Pitt's doing the long journey to Neptune, and he has to use the electrodes to stimulate his muscles.
That was cool.
And he has to use a feeding tube, stuff like. I like all the little world building, but they need to go further with. They need to make this a science fiction adventure, or strip it all out and make it a weird arty movie. At the moment, they're kind of trying to do both.
Yeah, it didn't work.
He gets to Tommy Lee Jones, and I was like, here's where they're going to argue about, what it means to stick to your guns and fulfill your mission, what it means to be loyal to your family, what it meant that the fact that he left his son at a young age, what it meant that his father was gone. Nothing. That never happens.
Brad Pitt says what it means to feel nothing at all.
Yeah, there's just no feeling. It's very hard as an audience member to care. And then there's a bloody voiceover from Brad Pitt that just tells you what he's feeling. And then he's like, I'm going home. I'm going to relive my life. It's like, the end. Like, what? Wouldn't it be great if this was like a classic 90s like sci-fi action adventure thriller where he gets to the Tommy Lee Jones ship, gets inside, finds all the dead crew members. It's really creepy.
Sam Neill comes out in Portal from Hell.
Sort of, yeah. Like Tommy Lee Jones comes out and is like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm setting the bomb and blowing this place up.
I found life.
Yeah, he's like...
It's evil.
Yeah. Not even that, but like, even if there's no aliens at all, just have Tommy Lee Jones be the bad guy and have Brad Pitt be like, you left me, you left Mom, this whole, crazy mission, that's fine, but you've gone nuts. I'm here to blow up the ship. And Tommy Lee Jones is like, I'm not going to let that happen. Monologues. Then fighting. I'm going to kill you, Dad. You blah, blah, blah. And then eventually, Tommy Lee Jones sacrifices himself to save the son or gets killed or whatever.
Tommy Lee Jones goes back to Earth and marries Brad Pitt's ex-wife. Everyone lives happily ever after.
Brad Pitt. In no universe, even in this universe, could I believe that Brad Pitt gets cucked by Tommy Lee Jones. Yeah. No way. But you can see what I mean, right?
Yeah,
this would be a really good 90s action movie. The monkey bit would be great in a 90s action movie. The moon buggy fight scene, great in a 90s action movie. The Mars scenes, great in a 90s action movie. The end, scene with Tommy Lee Jones would have been a cool fight scene. But the way it is, it's kind of trying to be a little bit of action sci-fi movie.
Trying to be a bit
arty and, inner contemplation and all that. But it never really achieves
it doesn't work.
Either, yeah.
I agree with you. And there's a good quote, I'm going to butcher this quote by Isaac Asimov, that like they want to push this quote. It's like either we're alone in the universe or we're not. And and both is equally as terrifying.
Yeah.
And they could have explored that more.
See, if that's what they wanted to explore, that's a really interesting thing to explore. You can make a million movies just on that quote.
Yeah, I feel like they wanted to skirt with that a little bit.
Yeah.
But again, they were trying to do two different things, and it didn't work.
And really, Brad Pitt's the only person in the universe, apparently. Yeah. So it's kind of like, well, you can't really explore what anything means if it's just about a cold, distant guy.
But it looked nice.
And it looks really nice. Another thing is, there's this weird, like, hints at religion, but they're never explored. Just really...
refresh me.
Just really awkward, like one of the captain starts praying, like saying Bible verses.
Oh, yeah.
And then, like, there's another bit where they're just like, Tommy Lee Jones is like recording, like captain's log. And he's like spouting, going on weird tangents about the aliens. And he's like, but God is the only one we really need. And I was like, huh? What is this movie?
Yeah, that was a bit weird.
Yeah, it's super weird, but it's never explored. Again, if you're going to make a movie about the search for extraterrestrial life and you want to introduce ideas about what that means for religion...
Good movie.
Make a movie about, like, Contact, perhaps. Mayhaps. We have a movie like Contact.
It's called Contact.
I don't understand what this movie's trying to do.
Yeah.
It raises questions, doesn't answer them, doesn't explore them, but then through narration, Brad Pitt will tell you his feelings about these things, but it doesn't
tell us anything.
Yeah, it doesn't actually explore them cinematically at all. even through the dialogue or the voiceover doesn't really explore them. It just says them. You know, it's weird.
Yeah, it's disappointing.
There's also it's clear this movie was heavily influenced by Apocalypse Now, which of course was influenced by Heart of Darkness. So it's clear that's kind of what this movie's going for, a slow journey into darkness to defeat a man who's gone crazy or whatever. But the thing about Heart of Darkness and Apocalypse Now is the journey is the important part. The beefiness of the journey, the characters, the environments, the existential crises of the journey is what's so interesting about it. That descent into madness.
Yeah.
From, the normal life, slowly you go down, darker, the jungle gets thicker and thicker, then, the people get meaner and meaner. But in the movie, it's just kind of, guy floats along, meets a couple people,
kills a couple people.
Floats along, meets a couple people,
ejects them into space.
Yeah, kills them by accident, quote unquote. Gets attacked by a monkey, floats along,
kills the monkey.
Yeah, meets a woman on Mars who his father killed her parents. No one cares about that. I don't care about that. That never came up again.
The lady from Russian Doll was a good brief moment into
but yeah,
joy.
It's like what?
But she was a bit out of place
but
too.
I was kind of like, what is this? It was a nice cameo, but I was kind of like, huh?
Yeah.
Like, why is this here? Like, in the movie's pretty humorless, and then to just have her being
that was
like
jarring.
For her to be like a surly kind of desk clerk, like, what are you doing? And I was kind of like, what? Like, what is this? I don't understand.
Yeah.
Like, I want this movie. Yeah, I want this movie to be super arty-farty and explain nothing, or like a super straightforward 90s like sci-fi action thriller, like adventure movie.
Yeah. So I mean, look, overall, I don't think I can recommend it at this point.
Look, I think we all agree we enjoyed watching it. It's nice to look at, but as we complained about this whole episode, it's like, it's not that good.
It's not.
It's
okay.
It's sending off too many flares and blinding everyone.
It's a movie you'd watch once if it was on, and that's about it. Like, not something you'd buy the 4K Blu-ray and all that sort of effort.
Yeah.
Technically, the movie's impressive.
Yeah.
But story-wise, it has a lot of issues, and I don't think I can recommend it.
Yeah. No, I think if they just developed certain things more, explored things more, if the crew members, actually got development and were actual characters, then when one of them died, you'd actually be sad. And you might actually, maybe they could have turned Brad Pitt into the bad guy. That would have been interesting, But as the way it is, it's just so cold and distant. It's hard to care about anything when the characters don't seem to care about anything.
Exactly.
One point I want to talk about is anyone who watches movies and likes movies, but especially us on the show, we always talk about originality and how everything now is a reboot or a remake or a sequel or yada, yada, yada. And we want more original movies. We want more weird sci-fi movies that are, we want more mainstream movies that aren't, that break the mold. We want more original movies. And Ad Astra is an example of a movie that promised to be that.
Didn't deliver.
But didn't pay off. It's derivative of other movies without besting those movies or developing on ideas presented in those movies. It's the original things that are interesting in the movie aren't explored enough and needed to be beefed up more. And it's just sending off so many, dropping so many questions and, presenting interesting ideas and then exploring none of it. And expecting the audience to be on board with it. And then, I think people generally, like, some people might watch this movie and being like, why are people complaining about it? It's what fans want. It's an original sci-fi movie. It's a mainstream film with a big name star, and yet it does things weirdly and differently. So why are people complaining about it?
I think the movie pretends to be intelligent.
And that's exactly what I'm saying, is it's a movie that thinks it's smarter than it is. And people, you can like the movie if you want, that's fine. But I think there are some people, especially online, who like to say, well, if you didn't like this movie, you know, you didn't get it or whatever. Where in like they think they're smarter than they are.
100%.
I just feel like, yeah, like I really wanted to like this movie, and there are parts of it I really do like, but the parts that I do like need to be fleshed out so much more before the movie is actually really, really good. And a movie can be weird and drawn out and arty while still maintaining a sort of emotional core, or a driving force, or still exploring interesting ideas. Whereas this movie is drawn out and slow and, you know, contemplative, but it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't mean anything. It's, you know,
it's at the end it's empty.
Yeah.
Like Brad Pitt.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of the thing is at the end.
Brad Pitt's character.
Yeah. Well, maybe. But, you know, like that's at the end of the day, yeah, this is an original sci-fi movie. We need more of them. You know, this is a weird movie that got a mainstream release. Yeah, we need more of that. But we also need a good movie out of that. You can't just say, oh, well, it's original and it's weird, so therefore it must be good and therefore you must like it.
If I want to see a good example of original weird sci-fi in the last few years that's come out, the one the studios didn't have any confidence in that was actually really good was Annihilation.
Yeah.
And that was weird.
That's a better example, but that also was dumped on Netflix.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like you can say, well, they didn't have faith in it. But what we're saying on the show is the studios need to have faith.
Yeah, because that was a very good example of what we're talking about in terms of new original science, even though I think it's based on something.
It's based on a book.
Yeah. You know, well, quote unquote, new original. It's not a remake. It's not a reboot.
Yeah.
It's,
Look, I have problems with Annihilation. But
it's a much better movie than this.
It's much better, yeah. But I think just because this was an original movie that we didn't like, that doesn't mean original movies, you know, aren't going to be good. You know, we're not saying to any Hollywood executives, because this happens all the time. They release a movie that's original and it doesn't do well, and they say, well, I guess people only want remakes and reboots and sequels, so we won't do the original movie. But it's like, no, the original movie still has to be good.
Exactly.
You know? And also there's also another thing that we can explore in another episode perhaps about, you can make an original movie that's quote unquote original because it's not based on anything, you know, it's not based on a book, or it's not a remake or a sequel to another movie, but it might be so derivative of earlier works that it kind of becomes pointless. And therefore, it's not really that original, and therefore,
exactly,
that's why people don't like it.
You need to be pushing the boundaries.
Yeah, so it's like we want more movies like Ad Astra at the movies,
just
but
good.
Movies. Yeah, the good version. Yeah, I think that's all I got. You guys want to mention anything else about the movie?
I think we covered everything for Ad Astra. It's just disappointing because we should be talking more about how great it is.
Yeah, like I really wanted to like it, and there are parts I really, really liked, but those, like I said, those parts needed to be explored more, and those parts needed to be expanded upon until they became the whole movie. You know, the Mars bit, the moon bit.
A part I quite enjoyed was the space elevator bit at the start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
Yeah.
You know?
That was quite cool. That was Brad Pitt trying to, you know, save some lives for once.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like at the start, he's more like a traditional hero where he's like working on the space antenna and then something goes wrong and he's like trying to shut off the power to help the guys getting killed. But then after that, he's just like, you know, the movie's also, this is one of the things about, the movie's very flat. You know, it's always on one level. You know, it's not, you know, sometimes we describe movies as, it's a roller coaster ride. It's up and down. Some movies, I think Nolan is the best example of this. His movies start at a point and they just ramp up until at the end of the movie, you're at the edge of your seat and you can't take it anymore. You know, this movie is just flat the whole way through. You know, it's always the same level of action, the same level of tone. You know?
Yeah.
Where it needed...
Just like Brad Pitt's character. Flat.
Exactly, yeah. Exactly. Like it needed a Nolan touch of like a ramping thriller till you get to the end. Or it needed more of a roller coaster, like, ooh, we're flat here, but when we go up and then you know, needed more of that.
But we can't have that when our character's heartbeat never goes above 50.
Yeah, that's the thing. They kept talking about the heartbeat. I'm like, so he's a sociopath. Like, if
he has no feelings, he doesn't
if he physically can't.
And I'll say, if he is meant to be on the spectrum, it does no services for people actually on the spectrum. If he's meant to be a representation of...
It's movie spectrum. It's not actually an exploration of someone who might be on the spectrum, or, the movie's not about that.
No.
Like I said, when you were mentioning it, I'm like, I didn't even get that from the movie. I was like, just a weird cold guy.
This is what they mentioned it before the movie was out.
Yeah.
This is like the team behind the
But see, like First Man, like I said, deals with the better. There are other science fiction, science movies, that deal with it better.
Definitely.
Oh
well.
It's disappointing.
Very disappointing.
Yeah.
Ready to move on?
Yeah.
Bandersnatch won an Emmy.
Oh, yeah.
And not everyone's happy about that, James.
Because
it's...
people suck.
Like, I get it, right? Traditionally, it's not a great movie. It's a good experience.
Look, the Bandersnatch is the first review we did for the Tuesday review. And we went deep on it.
Yeah.
We watched like every possible...
We did our best.
I think we experienced it in the best way possible, and we experienced in the way it was arguably meant to be experienced.
Yeah.
We experienced it as the interactive experience that it was meant to be. I think a lot of people watched it once in one...
just one
timeline, yeah. Maybe watched it alone. Maybe, they didn't realize what it was, which was an interactive, branching, choose your own adventure experience.
And really, it's a good party experience.
Yeah.
It's a good thing to do with your friends.
Yeah. But
have some popcorn.
Also, what they don't realize is that it's a Black Mirror movie or TV episode. It's an exploration of
control.
Technology and control and, influence technology has in our lives. Like, that's what it's meant to be.
And it's an outstanding experience, and I'm glad it won an Emmy.
Yeah, no, it's really good.
So the people who don't think this was a good outcome need to actually sit down and play through the whole thing.
Yeah, get a couple of friends together.
Yeah, look, it's a big... Yeah. It's a big investment of time.
It took a while, but...
It can take, 4 or 5 hours?
But also, if you're not going to do that, don't, I was crap.
Don't complain.
Because you didn't get it.
Exactly. What do you think, Alan? Bandersnatch, worthy of an Emmy?
Well, if you make the technical argument that since you have to interact with it, it really shouldn't qualify, I can see it being based on that. But in terms of an overall quality experience, if we're just purely rating that, no, I feel Bandersnatch would be entitled to an Emmy.
That's true. Where do we consider it on the line of movie versus game?
I'd say it's more in the movie TV side of things, especially because if you're not watching it on a console, it just plays all. You don't actually interact with it.
That's true.
Which is not the the way you're supposed to. But I think
it's certainly not a traditional experience.
Yeah, the film. You could say there are FMV games which are fully filmed and written.
This is slightly different.
This is definitely... And this
is much more meta.
Yeah, exactly. And this is also, again, it's attached to Black Mirror, which is a TV show. Like, it's a spin-off of Black Mirror. Like, it's not like this movie came out of nowhere. It was just like, choose your own adventure movie. It's an attached to a TV property.
It's an established...
And if you look at it technically, it's an award that recognizes excellence in the television industry.
Yeah.
And in a way, yes, this experience was doing something, quite unique and, I would argue pretty excellent in the television industry.
Exactly. And, everyone knows the Emmys is a joke. No one takes it seriously. If the Oscars is a joke, the Emmys is just like, who cares?
Yeah.
But, when a show or movie gets recognized with any award, there are always people who are being like, it doesn't deserve it. And I don't think you can say that about something like Bandersnatch.
No, it's quite a technical achievement.
Yeah, just technically, just even that. But I think we talked about on the episode where just writing all of that and connecting it back, and then
it gives me a headache thinking about it.
And then the actors having to figure out which timeline they're in and what scene they're acting in. It's insane. Like, everyone on that show should have got all the Emmys, really.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Love, Death and Robots also won like 5 Emmys.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so that show did really well, which is good because we want to encourage this type of show.
Yeah, I
hope we see more seasons.
I figured that show would just kind of disappear because, studios aren't really interested in doing things new and different.
And especially seeing as it's an adult-oriented sort of show.
Well, I guess it depends what categories it won, but I guess maybe just because it was so
varied,
eclectic, it could be nominated for so many. It could
be nominated for animation, CG, editing,
anything. So that's probably why it won a lot. But yeah, hopefully that if it got Emmys awards and attention, then hopefully Netflix does another one. Yeah,
because I thoroughly enjoyed that.
Oh yeah, so good,
so good.
And like it's just such a cool thing to have like a weird anthology. Just like you can drop another one. It doesn't have to be connected to anything. Just have a whole bunch of original shorts. Be awesome.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I got one more thing. I've been replaying Alan Wake for the first time in a few years. It's still fucking awesome.
It's one of my favorite games.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good. Just
because I'm a Stephen King whore. That's it.
And a Twin Peaks whore as well.
And a Twin Peaks whore. So like it ticks both those boxes.
Yeah. And a noir. You like noir.
And I like noir. Tick.
So I mean, that's the best thing about Remedy. They're just like, ticking all those boxes. But yeah, like after Control, like because playing Control and there's so many Alan Wake references, and I was like, it's almost like a semi-sequel kind of spin-off kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then I was like, now I have to play Alan Wake again to see those connections and, experience the game again because it's so good.
And you have that in your mind now that it's set like...
Exactly. I was like, the typewriter is the object of power. I was like, genius.
Yeah. Because you can retroactively get more out of it now having played Control.
Yeah. But that's the thing is...
Hold on a minute here. This is game talk. Sounds like Sunrise Arcade talk. You step into my territory, James.
Hey, have you listened to the last few episodes? We've been going pretty hard on a video game.
I have, and I've been a part of it. So,
Hey,
what you been doing?
But can I say something? I believe you haven't played Control. Is that correct?
I haven't. No.
Yeah. So fuck you. When you play it, you can come on the show and we can talk about it.
No, you can come on my show and talk about it.
Okay, deal.
It is a very good game.
Yeah, but it's really good. But how we were talking about, I think last week or the week before, where I was like, Alan Wake's in the same universe and Control has all these connections, and I was like, it'd be cool if they made an Alan Wake sequel or Control sequel where Alan Wake's in it, or a kind of dual sequel, like a glass kind of connected thing.
I'd be down.
But I was like, I think Microsoft still owns the rights to Alan Wake.
No,
and I was
I'm pretty sure Remedy got the rights back.
Remedy actually owns the rights, which I guess explains why they were allowed to use all that stuff in Control, which makes sense now. But so the possibility of an Alan Wake sequel
is higher than it's ever been.
Higher than ever. But yeah, I mean, I'm probably getting excited prematurely over nothing.
But the fact that they're alluding to Alan Wake in a new game is very promising. That means they're not done with that franchise.
And we got those 2 Control story DLCs coming out,
and one of them is very likely to be set.
Apparently,
you've seen the image, right?
Of the DLC.
Yeah, like there's like a little sort of picture image of the second DLC, and it's set in a fucking forest. There's like an Alan Wake Washington type tree thing and a flashlight.
No, I didn't see that.
There's a flashlight in trees, James.
Huh.
What does that tell you?
Then I guess
it's Alan Wake. So the sort of the obvious implication from what they're showing us about the upcoming DLC is that it's very much connected to Alan Wake.
Yeah. Oh man, now I'm really excited.
Yeah, I'll show you the picture later. Okay. There's like one that's just like about the oldest house or whatever, and the second one is about Alan Wake, allegedly.
Oh man, and Alan Wake 2 in this kind of generation or next generation of consoles.
With what they can do with Control in terms of action
and lighting. Light is so important to Alan Wake.
Ray tracing.
Oh man. Oh god.
We're just getting G'd up in the studio.
Shivers down my spine. And the soundtrack in Alan Wake is so fucking good.
Well, I love the fact that they used the band from Alan Wake. Yeah. The Nordic metal band in Control.
Old Gods of Asgard. Yeah. So fucking good.
That's so good. The janitor's my favorite character.
Artie, he's good. He's very Lynchian. Yeah, they mentioned the Old Gods of Asgard as well in Control, where Artie says something about he's going to meet the brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh,
yeah,
so many connections. But yeah, like the music's so good. So if they did an Alan Wake 2, getting that sweet, because I mean the soundtrack for Remedy games is always amazing, and Control had an amazing soundtrack. But yeah, like Alan Wake 2, the atmosphere with this kind of current gen graphics.
Oh man, I can't wait. It's going to be good, and we're getting excited in the studio.
Yeah,
but that's just because we know what's coming. Remedy's got the rights back.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, we're
Even
in a
if
sweet spot.
like
Control is very much an Alan Wake game.
Like I always say.
In that universe.
Like I always say, even if they don't do another Alan Wake or another Control, anything Remedy does, I'm there day one, take my money. Like
they're up there.
They're like my favourite devs.
In the tiers of studios, they're up there.
Yeah. That's it. You guys want to mention anything else?
No, I think we're good.
Yeah.
Pounded through it.
Thanks, Alan, for phoning in.
Thank you for having me. And now I'm gonna use this chance to do some self advertisement.
Yeah.
There's a PlayStation State of Play, which is like a PlayStation's version of Nintendo Direct.
Yeah.
It's meant to start in 2 minutes.
Oh.
And we'll be reporting on that this Saturday on the Sunrise Arcade.
Cool. Yeah, so make sure to tune in to the Sunrise Arcade, 10 a.m. Saturday morning, 98.9 Northwest FM. Or download the podcast on Shout Engine, iTunes, or on your regular podcasting app. Nathan, take us out.
Thank you for listening. Please like and share the Tuesday Review Facebook page, and like us on Twitter at Tuesday Review AU.
And Instagram at Tuesday Review AU.
And Instagram at Tuesday Review AU. You can also follow James on Instagram at Channel Drifter, where he talks about all the movies we don't get to talk about on the show that he watches. If you like video games, check out Alan and Jake's show Sunrise Arcade, where I am a frequent guest host. You can also catch Matty J's show Car Talk, that's TORQUE, for all your automotive discussion. Frequently with our guest Alan in the studio, he's always on there as well. Mm-hmm. Please make sure to rate, review, and subscribe to the Tuesday Review on iTunes. Adios, cousins.